I don't know. I feel like I'm not gonna post this. If I post this, please be kind, because my mental health can't handle it anymore. This is a long one. Please grab a snack. Please mind the tears, and thank you in advance for being here. Subscribe if you haven't already. Let's get into it. Hi friends, how's it going? It's a cold, rainy day, cold for summer, which means it's like 18 degrees. And I figured we could sit down, have a chit chat. I haven't had one of these with you in a while. Do my makeup and just have like a general life update. I feel like the last one I did was a month or two ago, and not a lot has changed, but I figure we can kind of like hang out, chat about things, and I don't know, catch each other up on how life is going, how summer's going. Okay, it is August and the kids are starting school in less than a month, which is a little overwhelming. I'm filled with a lot of like conflicting emotions around this. It's Theo's first year starting school, and I'm just like, how is it that I have two kids who are in school? That doesn't make sense to me. Like, it doesn't mathematically add up in my brain. Because I have babies. I don't have kids, I have babies. I'm gonna put some of this Jisoo lip oil on while I'm doing my makeup, just because it'll last through until I'm ready to do my lip color. I was thinking about doing like a Q&A over on Instagram, but I thought instead of doing that, what I will do is I'll just address some stuff and talk about some stuff that has been floating around, like my comment sections, my DMs, and just like, I don't know, generally talk a little bit about my life and like what's happening. Like, I'm not like crazy busy with work. I'm not traveling. I'm not doing this. We're not buying a house. There's not those big life changes, but I feel like my life has changed so drastically this year because of little changes that have happened throughout, you know, the last 6 months. So I thought we could chat about that. I've already done my skincare, but I figured I'd show you what I've been using. So this Caudalie Vino Hydra, it's a gel moisturizer with hyaluronic acid, grape water, and aloe vera. It says for combination skin. So I've been using that in the daytime under my makeup. I've been using the Vino Perfect Caudalie eye cream. I really like that. I think I talked about that in my last makeup video. I'm still going strong. And then I've been breaking out a little bit, I think due to like the level of heat and humidity and life. So what I've been doing is I've been using this Neutrogena. This is my like holy grail. This mixed with like a good old pimple patch. It's the spot gel with benzoyl peroxide, and I just use that as spot treatment, and then I throw a pimple patch on before bed. Call it a day. Okay, let's just start this with a post I made on Instagram about a week ago. I've been getting a lot of comments about my body, and from day one I've discussed that I don't think that we should be talking about other people's bodies. I feel like my entire life my body has been a topic of the conversation, whether it be, oh, she's gained so much weight, oh, she's lost so much weight, oh, this, that. And I feel like the less we talk about people's bodies, especially people we don't know and we don't know their story, we don't know their situation. But I do understand the level of curiosity because I put myself on public platforms on the internet. I get it. So I've been getting a lot of comments, a lot of speculation, a lot of everything since pretty much January, February, it started. I didn't want anyone to be thinking the wrong thing. I have been an advocate for body autonomy. Like, you need to do what you need to do for yourself, for your soul, for your body, for your health, for your mind, for everything. But I think that because this world is so heavily focused on diet culture and weight loss and this and that, I think that sometimes people forget that there are other things that can contribute to someone's body changing. I made a post on my Instagram discussing it, and I thought that I would kind of just start by sharing that post with you here, explaining to you what I had written, explaining to you kind of what came from it, and then we'll go into more detail through the video. Do you think that I will be talking a little bit about my history with dieting, with weight loss in the past, things like that? So if that triggers you, if you're upset by that, please like feel free to not watch this video. Please protect yourself, your mental health, because that is something that I have been doing and prioritizing this year. So I'm like hoping that other people will do the same. So I took a comment from a recent video, And I used that as the focal point, and that comment was, "You have lost a lot of weight, and I wish you would address it with your followers who have been here since day one. It doesn't seem authentic anymore because it's never discussed." I think that that comment didn't come from a place of anger or frustration. I think that it came from a place of hurt. I'm gonna use this Kosas Dream Beam Comfy Smooth Sunscreen SPF 40, and this is kind of what I've been doing. I have a system. I'm going to mix these two Say glowy gels together and then like rub it all in. It's just, I like the way my skin looks and feels when I do this. So it's the Rose Glow and the Sun Glow. It's almost like a tan, like a golden glow tan. Rose gold. It's really pretty, and I think the two of them together just really complement one another. So I mix those together, and then I just massage it in. So please don't cry, because then it'll ruin your makeup, and then what was the point of this? I'm gonna wash my hands, I'll be right back. I think part of the issue too with this topic and subject, with me especially, is that I feel like whenever I watch other creators talk about similar topics, I feel like they're so like eloquent. Like I feel like I'm just like a hot mess. I'm a 30-something-year-old woman who's navigating life for the first time. Let's get into this post that I made on Instagram, and I posted it on TikTok too. I didn't talk about it on YouTube because I'm going to be addressing it in this video. It wasn't necessary. I'm using the Maybelline Eraser concealer like in lieu of foundation. Oh, great, everything's going so good. Okay, I cleaned it up. I'm a hot mess, and I look like I have a goatee. It's gone so well. Okay, so I have the pinky shade of the same concealer that I go under my eyes to hide all the dark circles I have from not sleeping. And then I use a little bit of the Infallible 24-hour Full Wear from L'Oreal. Just like a dab, because I find that this Maybelline one is really nice, but I feel like the coverage is just not as strong as I'd like it to be. When I addressed this comment and I opened up a little bit more, I feel like I had finally gotten to a point in my life where I was confident and comfortable and okay with myself. But during that same period of time where I felt all those things and I was happy, I was also struggling with the worst mental health issues I've had my entire life. So I was really conflicted, because I was happy, I was confident, I was okay with who I was, but I was also battling severe anxiety, severe depression, panic attacks that I felt like I was dying. I felt so broken that I knew that I had to do something. I just wasn't sure what, and I didn't know what to do for the longest time, so I just kind of suffered in silence. Andrew would help me in the middle of the night when I'd be lying in bed, and I'd turn to him and I'd be like, I can't breathe. Oh God, this is so stupid. Why am I doing my makeup? I'm gonna cry it all off. I needed to. So I kind of learned how to cope with it. And I had been on medication previously for my anxiety and for my depression, because I had suffered through, this isn't new to me, but this level of anxiety and depression, I've never experienced it like this. So I was on medication when I was in my early 20s, when I first started getting panic attacks. I suffered from severe postpartum depression with Theo, my second baby, and I was on medication for a little over 18 months with him, I think. I remember thinking to myself that I just didn't want to have to go back. Not that there's anything wrong with medication, but I just knew how it made me feel. And being on medication was life-saving, but also I felt so numb when I was on it. So I didn't know what to do, and I thought that what I can do is at least give myself a bit of time to try and see if I can tackle this on my own before I had to resort to medication. So I was talking with my therapist, I was talking with Andrew, I was kind of trying to figure out what might work, and that's when I started on this journey. I'm very quiet about it. I haven't talked about it too much publicly because I didn't really know what to say. I didn't know how to address it. I didn't know how to talk about it in a way that I felt comfortable, that made sense too. I was still learning how to navigate it, so I didn't feel like I was ready really to get into depth about it. If you're sitting there and you're struggling with anxiety, depression, any of those things, please talk to someone. It doesn't have to be the internet. It doesn't have to be a professional even, but you need to talk to someone about it. That's so important. Why did I decide to do this when I did my makeup? Why, like, couldn't I just sat with a cup of tea and talk to you? No, that would have been more logical, right? Put on some powder. We're gonna need lots of powder today because one, I'm crying, and two, it's raining. I've been using the Maybelline Fit Me powder, but I've also been mixing in a little bit of my Revolution translucent powder, and I feel like the combination is great for me because this light powder is still a little bit dark for my skin, though right now I look like an actual ghost. This chronologically is not making sense, and I can already tell when I go into editing I'm gonna be like, what, like I'm jumping to here and then I have to go back to here. Okay, now I'm just gonna take a fluffy brush and just kind of blend this all in. I use so much powder, but my skin never ends up looking matte. If you are a dry skin girly, like especially dry, change up some of these. Oh, the powder's in my lungs. I got sent this PR package from Carpe. I've used their products for chafing in the past, but they have skincare products now, like for your face. So they have this lasting matte primer, which if I am like going out and like I'm gonna be outside all day, or I'm like in the blazing sun, and I swear by this, it's like lasting matte SPF primer with SPF 30, and it's sweat absorbing. But I have been using this every single day regardless of what I'm doing. This is their setting spray, instant matte setting mist, and it's designed for sweaty, oily skin, which that's your girl. Back to the post on Instagram, and let me read you my caption. I'm gonna be reading from my phone because I think this is gonna be a good point that I can go back to and reference while we're talking. I'm going to start this with a simple, you don't owe anyone an explanation about your body ever. Other people's bodies shouldn't be a topic of conversation in 2024, and I will stand by that always. However, being on a public platform and sharing my life openly and authentically for so long with all of you, I do understand any curiosity. However, one thing I do not want is improper speculation. This will never be a diet or weight loss account. I have always been an advocate for body autonomy. Do what you need to do to make yourself happy. However, after many years of disordered eating habits on my end, I cannot diet. It's a very slippery slope for me, so calorie tracking, eliminating certain foods, taking weight loss medication, etc. is not for me. This year, my focus has been on my mental health, and I won't lie, it has been incredibly challenging. Night after night of having panic attacks where I couldn't breathe, constant insomnia where I was terrified to go to sleep, standing on my porch at 1 a.m. in my bare feet when it was minus 15 degrees just to regulate my system and remind myself that I wasn't dying. I took the time to learn what I can do to help my anxiety, and with help from my therapist, I picked up new habits. Let's go through those new habits because I know a lot of people have, even on Instagram, have asked me to kind of elaborate on these a little more because it's very like specific, point blank, you know, this is the list. Been my journey this year is working on my mental health, and that has been my goal, because I can't be a good mom, I can't be a good partner, I can't be a good content creator, I can't be a good person if I feel like a shell of a human, and that's where I have been the last year. Too Faced chocolate bronzer. The bulk of my panic attacks and all that was in probably like end of last year into early this year. So that's when things got really, really, really bad for me, and I needed something to give. So I started moving my body more. I started going on daily walks. I started little things, like if I would go to like an office or something where there was like an elevator or stairs, I just take the stairs. Any excuse to move my body, because I noticed that when I started moving my body, I started feeling a lot lighter, not physically, mentally. My therapist suggested it, so I started doing it, and I would, you know, end up walking Marlo to school or picking her up from school where normally I would drive. Little things like that, I noticed a huge change. In the last couple months, I started biking, like bicycling. And I hadn't done that in over 10 years, like a very long time. So that's something new that I picked up alongside walking, and I love it. We do it as a family. It just makes me feel so free, and I can just like feel the wind, and I can feel the warmth, and I can, you know, see my kids ahead, and Andrew's with me, and I feel very safe. Also, on top of that, I started journaling and I started reading, like actual reading books. And that's another thing that I hadn't done in a really long time too. I used to read when I was younger. I got the Goodreads app. I gave myself a goal of 20 books this year. I think that I'm at like 6, maybe 5 or 6. I'm currently reading ACOTAR. It's on my nightstand over there. I also have another one on the go that's like half done, but I'm just like not loving it. So I thought I'd start ACOTAR, finish that, and then if I feel motivated, I'll go back and finish it. It's called Lies, Lies, Lies. It's not bad. I'm just not connected to the characters. But if you have any good book recommendations, please let me know below, because I am constantly updating. I have like a little notes app on my phone where I'm just adding your suggestions for books, and some of them that you've suggested are good. So in turn, with picking up reading, I've also been stopping scrolling at night, like doom scrolling. Now, I still do it. I just don't do it all the time. And I'm getting better at that. Because a lot of my panic attacks had come at nighttime specifically, I feel like changing my habits before bed have really been a big help. I have a journal that I write in. I have I journal on my phone. So in my notes app, I'll like write down my thoughts and feelings. Which has been really helpful as well. And I like having new hobbies too. That's another thing that I've talked about in the caption too, is another thing is just new hobbies. So I know in my last couple vlogs I talked about my crocheting, so I'm trying to get, you know, better at that. I also took up biking, which is a new hobby as well. Cooking, I started cooking a lot more. We're gonna do like a mix of 2 different blushes while I talk about my journey with food. So we're gonna go in with this Say Baby Dew blush. Here, it's a liquid blush. And we're gonna blend that out just a little tiny bit. Oh no, my battery's gonna die. And then I'm gonna top it with the CoverGirl True Blend. See that? Isn't that so pretty? Oh my gosh, I've been using this blush forever, and like I always go back to it. I feel like I have so many different blushes, and then I end up just going back to this one because it's just so pretty. So I started cooking more. Both Andrew and I were like notorious for this. Was ordering takeout, like skip the dishes, DoorDash, that kind of stuff, which I love, and I still will do it, but we were doing it like 3 to 4 times a week. I'd be eating out multiple times a day. Like, it was a regular occurrence for us to spend money on takeout. I was getting food that I didn't even like or enjoy, and I feel like I just loved the concept of home cooking, and I needed to prioritize that. So I did. We stopped ordering as much takeout. I wanted cooking and eating home cooked meals to be a priority. I started learning, you know, what recipes like I actually enjoyed and wanted to make. I would batch cook. I just felt like I had found something that I had lost for so long, because I used to love cooking, but I feel like I almost was scared to get back into it, because back when I was like in deep with, you know, my disordered eating, where I was like weighing, tracking, you know, writing down all of my calories, all of my nutritional content, like that was my focus. Is when I was really into cooking, is when I was really into disordered eating and bad dieting. So I kind of had to relearn how to cook for enjoyment and not for weight loss purposes. I feel like it makes me feel better, and it makes me feel good to be able to be like, I made that. My camera died. Oh my gosh, the lighting is all changed. That's fine. It's fine. We're fine. I had lunch. It was really good. I had a tuna sandwich with pickles. So yummy, on sourdough. Sourdough is like the best bread. If there was a bread Olympic, sourdough would take gold every time. Let's get back into our makeup and chatting. It also stopped raining. It's also a lot brighter. Maybe that's like the sun kind of came out. Maybe that's it. What were we talking about? We were going through the list of things that have been helping me on my mental health journey and to stop having panic attacks. So we had talked about moving my body more. We talked about journaling and reading. We talked about a few other things too, but let's move on to fresh air and sunlight, and grounding myself. and more screen-free time and days off work. Hopefully I remember all of that, because if there's one thing about me, it's I got that ADHD. Let's do my eyeballs. Should I probably put some primer on since it's been so long? Yeah, but whatever, I'm not gonna. Okay, so we have this ColourPop Super Shock Shadows. I picked up a few new shades when I was over the border in Michigan. So I got this shade Wannabe. It's like this like peachy pink. So I'm gonna start with that, and then I'm gonna top it with my all-time favorite shade. This is Ritz. I use this religiously. I bought another one because I'm almost out of this one. And let's talk about fresh air and sunlight. So I don't think that it was like a coincidence that the majority of my horrible panic attacks and whatnot were happening in the dead of winter. Obviously, I'm very nervous about this winter because I don't think that it's fully attributed to seasonal depression. I do suffer from seasonal depression, but this was another level of depression and anxiety. I'm going to assume that that definitely contributed to the fact that I was feeling horrible. So something that I started doing that really helped was making sure I get fresh air and sunlight daily, multiple times a day. Of course, walking more, biking, all of that helped. But on top of that, even just like working outside. So like when I was editing my videos and stuff like that, I would go in my backyard, like I got my patio table all set up, and I would like edit on my deck or edit on my front porch and just be outside when normally I'd be cooped up inside doing my work. That has helped a lot. It truly is like healing. You know, like they make that joke about how they're like, oh, you know, your parents will be like, you're not depressed, just go for a walk. You know what? Sometimes that helps. I'm still depressed, but fresh air does help. I hate it that that's like actually helpful. When you're so miserable and anxiety ridden and depressed, getting up the energy to just go outside and go for a walk sometimes is really hard. And some people will be like, that's not hard. No, but sometimes it is. Like when your brain is like working against you 24/7, it can be hard. Since I've gotten in that routine though of doing that, it's helped so much. Also grounding myself daily, which is a newer like practice that I've been doing. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do come winter. Hi Reese. Hello my angel. Are you gonna hang out with me while I do my makeup? Oh please do. Oh please do. You sweet girl. So what I do for grounding myself is I will like literally run around my backyard barefoot. Not like prancing around. Well, I mean, if you prance around, that's totally fine. I mean, like I'll just walk around my backyard. I'll do yard work. I'll like water my plants. I'll do weeding. I'll do all that stuff barefoot. Yes, my feet get dirty. The odd time I will step on a thistle. You know, it's fine. It's not a big deal. But I just feel like it's so healing, and it like connects me to nature. It like calms my mind. It like reminds me that I'm human, that it's okay if I feel these emotions. If you haven't done it before, try it. You know how kids always run around barefoot and you're always like, you know, at what point in our lives did we just stop doing that and we were just like confined to footwear? Obviously be careful, don't step on anything glass or whatnot, but isn't this the prettiest combination? My eyes look so nice. I'm gonna top with some highlighter. I need to do a highlighter on my face, and then I'm also gonna do some highlighter on my brows, blend in the shadows. Also, did you hear that thing on TikTok that said that eyeshadow is for millennials? What? Can't even have like eyeshadow now without being called out? Okay, so let's talk about screen-free time, days off work. I talked about cooking more, which is great, and now I'm not spending like hundreds of dollars on delivery service. When I started content creation, like more seriously, like obviously I was on YouTube for a while and I had dabbled in like Instagram here and there, but when I was like putting effort and like growing a community was in 2020, when it was like normal for someone to post 2 to 3 to 4 times a day on TikTok. Totally different time. I wasn't putting that much thought, time, planning, effort, editing into my content. It was a lot more fluff content. But at the same time, to be posting that often to grow a community, I had made myself addicted to the algorithm, where I was like, I can't skip a day. I have to post every single day or I'm gonna lose all my followers. I'm not gonna grow. I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna get any more brand partnerships. I'm not gonna have a living. I'm not gonna have a house. Like, it was scary. I post daily to shorts, to reels, to TikToks, but to go from like multiple videos a day to 1 video a day. Unheard of. Like, this is my full-time job. So I think like it's fun, and I do have like a social aspect to this, to these platforms, but on top of that, like, it is, when it's your full-time job, you know, you think about all of this a lot more strategically. So I think that for the longest time, I was scared of letting myself have a break. And I don't mean just like, you know, an afternoon off or turning off my phone, you know, when my kids get home, or going on a bike ride, not having my phone, watching a movie, not having my phone. I mean like a full day off. Like, it was unheard of. So I started allowing myself more screen-free days and days off, like committed days off. And I think that like learning a more beneficial schedule for that part of my life and that part of my work has been one of the biggest factors of this whole journey that I've been on. Oh, I'm using the forgot to tell you, I'm using the Revlon Daybreak Glimmer Skin Lights. This guy is old. He has seen it all, but oh gosh, it's so good. Just like how it looks. I just feel so dewy and fresh. Okay, we're gonna do some setting spray, and then we're gonna do brows and lashes and lips. So this is the Carpe Instant Matte. I was telling you about this earlier. It's just so good. And I haven't found like a spritz bottle setting spray like this that doesn't feel overly wet. Like, I feel like I like the aerosol. Like, I have this one size one that I really like because it doesn't feel like I'm soaking my face. This one doesn't feel like it. It feels very like dry, if that makes any sense. It's like a really fine mist. Listen, I'm a millennial. I came from the days of using hairspray to set your makeup. I'm not even joking. L'Oreal Elnet, the gold bottle, like bug spray all over your face. So I also started cutting out caffeine and limiting alcohol. I've never been a big drinker. I do drink socially and occasionally, but I don't drink daily. I don't drink even weekly. But I found that my anxiety was like heightened so much if I was drinking like a ton of caffeine, alcohol. I mean, I do still drink occasionally, and I do have like caffeine daily, but like I'll have a Diet Coke or I'll have a tea. I will the odd time have like an Alani or a Prime or an energy drink, like maybe once every couple weeks if I'm like batch filming content, or I'm super tired and didn't get a good night's sleep. But making sure that's like cut out in the afternoon from like 2 on. I can't drink caffeine or my mind's like going crazy before bed. I'll have a glass of wine every once in a while, or like a spritzer or a cooler if we're at like a patio. But I just, little things like that seem small have made such a big overall difference and impact for my mental health. Okay, let's do my brows. We're gonna do the e.l.f. Wow Brow in shade, what shade is this? Brunette. Pretty simple. And then this is the biggest thing that I think has impacted the whole picture, and that is working on my disordered eating habits and my binge eating disorder. Even just talking about this gives me anxiety, but I think that so many people can relate. I'm done feeling shame around it, so I'm gonna just talk about it and talk through things with you. I have struggled with disordered eating probably my entire life. I can't think of a time where I wasn't sneaking food, hiding food, and then it went from like that to then the point where I was like, you know, limiting myself. So I would like fast or stop eating for days at a time, and then when I did eat, I would like eat in excess, limit myself the whole week, and then on the weekends I would just go crazy and like black out and just eat all this food. And it was so damaging to be constantly battling with food noise and not understanding how some people are out there having like a normal relationship with food, when I had never experienced that. I had never experienced that as like especially as an adult, not as a teenager. I've been intuitive eating for years now. However, the thing that has shifted this year has been I am really focusing on foods that make me feel good. So I've been eating a lot less fast food. I've been cooking a lot more. I've been adding a lot more color to my meals. I've been noticing that when I eat foods with color and like greens and reds and oranges and this and that. Like I feel so good. Like it makes my body feel good. It makes my mind feel good. I feel like I'm less brain fog. And I've been adding a lot more protein to my meals because I find that when I eat more protein, I'm less likely to binge. And I'm not cutting anything out. I'm not taking away anything because I know from history, for me personally, it really doesn't help ever. Like to cut things out or to label things as bad or to stop eating like pizza or to stop eating ice cream. Or for me, I would literally just not eat any kind of carbohydrates or sugars. Like I went for years without eating a banana because it had too many carbs and sugars. Like that's kind of where I'm at. Like when I start taking things out, it gets dangerous for me. Oh my gosh, it's so noisy. However, that has been my biggest focus this year, is really trying to find a good relationship, or like not even good, not even great, just better, a better relationship. Do my brows look good or do they look really wonky? I can't really tell. I normally do my brows in a mirror that's like really far away from me. I don't know. Did that work? Okay, I'm calling it. It's fine. Forgot to put the highlighter on my brows, and I like to do them on the inner corners as well. So let me do that quickly before I do my lashes. Okay. So yeah, that's been a really big helping point. I'm not a professional. I'm not, you know, I'm not here to give anyone any specific advice. It took a lot of self-reflection. It took a lot of therapy. It took a lot of like inner work to figure out what helps me personally. But if any of these tips could help you, feel free to try them if, you know, you feel good about them, if it's something you'd like to try. I'm not an expert. I don't know, you know, what will help you. I just know what has helped me. Oh my gosh, these trucks are so noisy. Ah, gosh, first the train, now the trucks. I have like 2 windows open, but I closed this one so that it wouldn't be that noisy. The world had other plans. Okay, let's do some lashes. And yeah, just, I think the biggest thing for me and the biggest takeaway is change is okay. Our weight ebbs and flows. Sometimes it's intentional, sometimes it's not, and that's okay. When you are living in a body, it's normal, it's human, it's part of life. This is the CoverGirl Lash Blast Volume in waterproof. I've been layering up my mascara lately and I really like how it looks. So I'll do 1 coat of this and then 1 coat of the Say Mascara 101 over top once this dries. And I like that combo. It's working for me. I think that talking about your mental health and the struggles and things like that you've been facing is, like I just felt like a weight had been lifted off of my chest, and the support that I had from everyone in my comment section, obviously the ones that weren't unfollowing me, it made it that much better. Like I felt for once that I wasn't suffering in silence. I felt seen. I felt like everything was gonna be okay. Also, my comments are always open for you to dump, vent, you know, unleash. You're safe down there. Last round of mascara, and then we'll move on to lips. Let's do lips, and then we'll call it a day. I'm gonna use this Cheekbone Beauty lipstick in the shade Kia. This is gonna be like my go-to fall shade. It's like the perfect pinky brown. I was just yapping for so long that it timed out and I don't know when it stopped recording. It's really pretty. And then what I do is I top it with this Wattier Gloss Serenity, I think it's the shade, and it's like glittery, and isn't that so pretty? We are all done. Thank you for letting me unload to all of you. Thank you for understanding and for being so supportive. Like I have this safe space of amazing humans that I get the like privilege to go to every day. And I know that I'm so lucky for that. So thank you. Thank you for being here. Till next time.